So, welcome to Menon Thoughts, where technology, life, and growth comes together with purpose. I'm Govin Menon, here to walk you through the challenges of your career and times of healing. This video is part of our second video series. The series is called From Idea to Impact, Building Your Startup with Purpose. And today's question is going to be, or today's video's basic question would be around: do you have what it takes to run a startup or build a startup? I have done that. I had run two startups, actually three. One was in 2006-7 time frame. That was not more of a startup. It was basically, there was an organization which I took over from which was an ODC from the US side, and then I took it over and tried running it for 2 years. But at that time, I had only I think 7 or 8 years of experience. It failed, obviously. .com period it was, and then I moved on, went on to going into regular jobs. After that, I had done another startup in 2018. Ran for 2 years. That was a good startup that we had. It was on the healthcare domain. We tried building things. We had a slight success, but we could not maintain the momentum, and it had to eventually shut down. Though offshoot of that particular startup called Aperi is still running. I am not part of it though, because that was more into services. I wanted to be in product line, so didn't run there, right? And after that, I think 2 years back, I did freelancing / startup. So that's the knowledge that I'm going to share over these episodes that I'm going to build. And of late, from after 2018, I would say I've been working only with startups, except for a brief period of 1 year where I worked with a bigger organization as a consultant for Air India. But apart from that, I have been working with startups. So gotten into these organizations which were startups with intention of growing with them, but few did work, few didn't work. Had to move on. Currently also working with a sort of a mid-style startup, right? So that might also help over a period of time, right? So let's explore it and see whether we can answer a few questions of how to run a startup and how to build a startup. Let's start with myth versus reality when you're about to get going with your startup. So people often believe that they are starting a startup. When they started off, they believe with probably four things, which is basically freedom, your flexible hours, and funding, right? As in to buy new gadgets, new stuff. You'll make a unicorn and then you'll fly off. There are a lot of people who think that way. Not all. I'm just saying, a lot of people think that way. But here is the truth that I believe that happens is basically you will go through stress, you will go through setbacks, you will have sleepless nights, and there will be a lot of self-doubt that is going to happen when you're doing your startup. Your idea that when you start off, again, you need not have a perfect idea or having a Ivy League degree to start off a startup, right? You need resilience, clarity, and the willing to build and not just dream. That is what the whole thing is. So let me elaborate it a bit, right? So stress you will have, I mean, initially first 6 months to 8 months, you will not have that much stress, I guess, because you would probably be prepared for that first 3-4 months at least, because you will have some funds stashed out. You might have you would be actually in a gaga zone, if you may, right? And you would be feeling a bit upbeat with that, saying that I am also now a co-founder, founder, or whatever it is, right? Because your idea is getting built, right? Whatever you want to make in the market. The stress comes in after your planning stage is over and when your MVP is about to uh, go on into the market. That is when the stress starts. And that is exactly when the setback also comes in with the stress, right? So the way it would go is first you will have setbacks, and then you would have stress, and then you would have sleepless nights, and then you will have self-doubt. That is how the sequence goes, based upon what I have seen till now. Right. So when you start off, you think you have got a perfect idea. You're going in with that perfect idea, and you build something. You probably rush through your stuff and go through it, and then take it to the market, and you're killed, just like that. Some startups are lucky if they have not planned it well. Also, they click off, but most of them have this problem, these three problems, right? Because what you have built has not gone into market. You get the first setback, then you don't get the VC funding, then you don't you will get into stress, and then you will have sleepless nights, and then you'll have self-doubt. That is what the four stages are of the myth versus reality, I would say. To run a startup, you need a mindset as a founder, right? According to me, there are 5 things that you have to keep looking at. Have that focus on these 5 things as your startup is growing. Once it becomes a corporate, then or well-oiled machinery, probably still you need this, but focus can be a bit more lesser and more on growing the organization. But during that first phase, what you require is 5 things: clarity of purpose, know why you are building, what you are building, why you want to build this particular thing in the market, what does it change for the person who is your customer persona. Obsession with the customer's requirement, right? I mean, so obsession as in falling in love with the problem that the customer has. So for falling in love, you need to identify the problem, not the solution. Solution comes next. First identify the problem and then find a solution. So a lot of startups, what they do is they find a solution first and then try to fix that particular problem into that particular solution into a problem, right? Identify the problem first and then try to solve that particular problem. I'll give an example on this particular thing. When we were building our startup 5 we went with actually thinking that we have a solution for the EHR system for India. Solution, that's the keyword, right? Whereas what we should have probably done was look at what there are a lot of, so doctors are already there in India for the last 70-75 years. They already have been treating people. They already have been managing the PHR records in whatever format they are, right? But instead of identifying the problem that they are having, we went with saying that we are going to automate their PHR system, right? That is not a problem. That's a solution. They have a system. We are trying to actually make it into a PHR system, right? That is not a problem statement. That is just giving a solution to an existing workflow that they had. The problem statement had to be identified, and that system had to be built around the problem statement. So probably if I look at the hindsight, it could have been like the problem statement is making sure referral between doctors work better. That is something that things still doctors do manual, and they don't have a very good way of doing it. They have it, but they don't have it. Or probably connecting the doctors based upon the PHR with the medical companies or medical MRs, which would help them in guiding them on the right medication for the given demography for a given period. These could be the problem statements. I'm just giving an thought, sprinkled thoughts on what I think now could have been better, right? But that's not what we did, right? So that created a vacuum when we were trying to take it out into the market. Third important point, curiosity and humility. That is something that you need to have. Curiosity to learn fast, humility to adapt fast, right? So that was something that curiosity I had a lot when we were building the product, but I think where I as a founder lacked was the humility to understand that this thing that I have built was not right. Okay, so or was not accepted by the market, if you may. So as a engineer who is building a software, and if you know that you're a good coder, and if you know your design is good, and if you know that it works well, right, you tend to believe that I have built a very good solution. Okay, now you might have built a very good solution, but it is not solving a problem, right? That humility to accept that what you have built is not good, it is not great, you need to scrap it, you need to restart it, is very difficult for a founder to get. Or not from founder's point of view, I'm saying for a developer or an engineer to agree, who is a good engineer, I'm saying, right? And as a founder, you need to take out the hat of that technologist and then start looking at it from a point of view of a founder. And that founder has to have that thing saying that no, what I built is not right. Okay, right? That is the third key factor, I would say. Fourth factor, I would say, is like when you are actually taking it out, it's resilience. Like, I mean, when you are actually taking it out into the market and doing stuff, a lot of times you will hear from the customer, although you try to pitch it, you take all your experiences, you say, yeah, I mean, it will do this, it will do that, it will do face scanning, it can do connecting to wearable apps and all those things. From example from my 5 thing, the customer will simply say, no, I don't want it, right? And there will be a lot of customers who would say no, because they don't want to change. They don't want to change or they don't want to come out of their comfort zone. So they will say no, obviously, right? And when they say no, until it doesn't become a trend, it doesn't catch fire, right? So it is very difficult for you to acquire new customers in a startup, right? Until it becomes a fire or you're solving a proper problem. Okay, so that resilience you have to have. Even if you're solving a problem, early adapters will only take your product. It will be years before it becomes a common name. YouTube channels are similar to that, right? I mean, you might be putting high quality videos, you might be putting high educational videos, you might be getting subscribers, but you are not getting views, because again, it is the same, right? I mean, until people start to know that there is good quality information in this video, they will not go and see it, right? How do they know it? When they see the whole video, or probably through somebody else, right? Till then, you have to keep putting videos. It's a simple thing, right? I mean, that's also the same thing in actually running a YouTube channel is like running a startup. That's what I'm loving at right now, right? So that is the point with one of the mindsets that you have to have as a founder: resilience, right? Fifth most important point I would say is team first, right? Most of the founders believe, or people believe, that they can do it alone because they are too good technically. But you always need a core team, or at least a set of co-founders who can excel in their areas. Example, I'm good with technology, I'm not good with marketing, right? So then I need a co-founder or a founder who complements that part of it, marketing part. I'm good at technology, he is good at marketing, then we need somebody who is good at operations. You don't need to get a co-founder for that, or you might need to, I don't know, right? I mean, that is your choice. But you need a core team which can do that. If you are good at technology also, you still need a core team which is there, which will help you build that particular product. So team first, the team has to be there in place, otherwise it will not work, right? So as a founder, and as individual contributors who are in technology and all, we tend to go into a scenario where we think that we know everything, and hence we we can solve all the problems, right? We can handle it. Probably I need 2 or 3 interns, but still those interns then will become your core team, right? That mindset has to come in as a founder, right? When I started with thinking about this video, I started thinking, okay, I should put this across because a few of my mentors said that you have this experience, you should put it. So I was thinking, what should I start with, right? I mean, what point should I start with? And I thought this is the right thing to start with because first is your mindset that has to come in, right? The mindset of a founder has to come in. Then you can think about the other things, right? I mean, so that's the reason why I'm putting this video out, because your ideas will evolve, your product will change, right? You can make better products, you can make better or your ideas can pivot. You can hire people to build better products, technology wise, get product managers. Idea might evolve, but mindset, that makes or breaks the journey for a startup. That is what I believe, right? So as I said, as founders you need to have 5 things primarily looked at in your mindset, right? Clarity of purpose, customer obsession, curiosity plus humility in learning, resilience, and team first approach. This will help you in being successful in your startup journey. So now, since you have talked about the mindset and all, there's a $1 million question that is always there for a person who wants to jump into the startup world, which I think you should answer before you jump, right? It's not just one question. There are 4 key questions I think that you should always answer before you take this journey. The first should be, I think personally, again based on my experience, others might want to add more, but my 4 pointers are 4 questions that I would ask if I were to start a new startup now. Would be, can you go without a stable salary for months or longer? Because that happens. That happens for sure, right? Um, if yes, you can. You have got a good problem that you have identified. You should. Are you, the second question, are you ready to take responsibility even when things fail? As I said, for a technologist, if you are getting in as a technologist, any founder, I mean, let's say there are 3 key areas for any startup, right? Technology, if it's a technology startup, technology, marketing, operations, 3 key areas that are there. If you are one of the founders who is taking any one of these key areas, which you obviously would, technology, if you are taking, and if it goes south with whatever you have thought as a problem statement and built that particular solution, then are you ready to take that responsibility and redo everything right from scratch, right? If you are running the operations, invoicing, hiring, banking, whatever, right? If you are doing that and if anything goes south in that, let's say in finances or hiring, you are not able to get the right resources, are you ready to take responsibility and rebuild the team? If you are in marketing, if you are not getting good traction, are you ready to actually change the way you approach the market, talk to the customers, pivot, and then move forward? These are questions that you probably want to answer before you jump in. Third, foremost, do you have a support system? Good support system. You definitely need your family support system on this. You need a couple of good mentors who need not be founders of any startup, but they have enough wealth of knowledge in the expertise that you are bringing in. Say, for example, like as a technologist, do you have enough mentors who can guide you on latest technology trends? You need a whiteboard where you can talk to them, understand, new trends, stuff like that. If you are in operations, mentors can help you in getting the right resources, stuff like that. For marketing, mentors can help you in pivoting, right? And third, most important in this support system is the co-founders or the core team that I was mentioning. Do you have the right co-founders? Same mindset, same fire inside their belly, same resilience that you have, same clarity, same willingness to build the whole system, right? Whole ecosystem that you're trying to build in the startup. Or have you got the right core team built under you? If you are two founder company, do you have the core team which can take it forward with you? Fourth and the last thing, can you handle ambiguity? Right? Ambiguity is something which is common with all startups. All startups will face ambiguity as they build their products and they move forward. So when you are actually trying to build your products, there will be a lot of ambiguity. You can't wait for someone to tell you what to do next, because if you wait, you will wait. You might even have mentors whom you go and talk and all those things, and they might be giving you guidance, but will you be able to handle that ambiguity and take corrective action quickly? Okay, these are the 4 pointers, right? So again, I'll repeat. Can you go without stable salary? Are you ready to take responsibility? Do you have a support system? Can you handle ambiguity? These 4 things. If you answer those, if you're ready for those, then yes. This is again my personal experience that I'm talking about. Other successful startups might have a different view. Founders might have a different view, but this is what I think are important. My 2 cents is basically startups are not about building unicorns. They are about solving problems that matter, and in that, are you a person who can solve problems as a startup founder? It is applicable to the developers also, or people who are working in the startup also, but for them there is an option. They can move out from this organization and join another organization. For a founder, it is not, right? It is their bread and butter. So that is a key thing that you should probably be ready for. Again, I'm not saying all this for scaring you. It is just my thought to prepare people who want to get into startup, sharing my knowledge. That's all that it is all about, right? So what I have learned from my startup lesson over the years that I have built products and worked with startups and watched ideas rise and fall. One thing that has not, I mean, one thing that has taught, I mean, one thing that has taught me more than anything else is that failure will teach you. Failures at every stage will teach you about the next journey, right? I mean, next thing that you want to do. When you fall on your face in front of your customer who says, no, I don't want this whole thing, or when your funding dries up, that is when you learn what you are really made of, right? I mean, that is what I learned from my experience, right? I mean, so good example is my co-founder, Santosh Maman, who runs Aperi. He stayed on with the startup journey, and he has built a good organization called Aperi, which is into services. They are not into product development, but they are running it. I mean, so services is also a startup, right? I mean, you have to acquire customers, you have to keep moving and all that stuff. He's done a good job with that, right? I mean, he's running it. And I believe that startup, according to me, has to come from your heart, not with hype. Not with hype in the sense that because everybody else is doing startup, let me also do startup. It has to come from your heart, and trust me, if your heart is in that, you can learn the rest as it goes. Your heart has to be in there, and for that you need to answer those 4 questions and have that mindset that I talked about in the previous sections of the video, right? So do you have something there to start a startup? Maybe yes, maybe not yet, right? But the fact that you had stayed around till this part of the video means you are interested, right? So if you are, go ahead, subscribe to the channel. If you have already subscribed, thank you. Stick around. This is just the first video of our series From Idea to Impact. There will be more videos coming up. There will be a playlist put up for this, right? And looking forward for you all to watch that, and probably put your comments in the video to for any additional questions, informations that you want. I am happy to share, right? This is Menon Thoughts signing off. Until we connect again, keep learning, keep caring.